Welcome to the Hard Lessons podcast. On this episode here, we've got Rob Thibault. Rob is the owner of quite a few different organizations. He's got his hands tapped into many things from snow removal operations, built an empire in Vancouver, BC. He's got disposable bin companies, but also innovated and took a product under his wing that he really believed in, and that he used and proved that works, and is really blowing it up across across the snow industry. So it's super cool to see. I really look forward to speaking more on the business aspect of things. I know you talk all the time about the snow, about your product, about how well it works, but it's really impressive how many things you have going on, and I'd love to get a few good nuggets out of this here. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Whatever I can do to help, whatever I can share. I've failed more than anybody I know, but I win 51% of the time, and those wins are good enough to keep us rolling.
I love it. So to start off, Rob, let's paint the picture for those for those listening briefly. It sounds like you started in the snow business, and then the entrepreneurial thing kind of took off from there. Now you're doing a million other things. Like, what's how do you get started, and where are you at now?
Yeah, I actually started with a landscape company. So we did maintenance. Turns out I'm allergic to everything. So that was not a good start. We moved to hardscape, which was good, but for me, it was the change orders were really frustrating. I like to complete tasks when I can, and just the constant renegotiation on things and ongoing management. There was too many variables that I couldn't control for. I mean, snow has plenty of variables, but in a different category. So then I started trying different things. We did putting greens and water features and built all types of stuff. Kind of found my way around, and then started snow on. We had a big year, 2009. I wasn't in snow. I heard some guys were doing okay in it. So 2010, borrowed some money from my mom to buy this old skid steer, a gas skid steer from a chicken a chicken farmer that was retiring. It's just this baby little gasser. And in 2010, I was kind of pretending to offer snow services and see what would happen. So we did that for a good while. 2016, 2017 winter was a big year. It almost killed me. It was I didn't know you could like work 140 hours in a week, but you can. Don't try it. I've worked as many 24-hour days as you can. That year I shut down landscaping. It wasn't going where I wanted to. So then the next 3 years I just did snow and had some time off. Things were going pretty good. And then I realized I built criteria for things. And so snow is like short time frame, higher risk, higher return. And then so that's one of our models. There's more criteria around it. And then I like the really low, slow burn type businesses. So we have cold water storage. We have a storage facility. So if you have boats, RVs, shipping containers, whatever, we'll store those. Then we bought a local disposal bin company in the area, and then I went and bought one up 4 or 5 hours away from here in the interior of BC, hauled it all back, repainted everything, fabricated everything so it fits, because one was a hook truck and one is a roll-off truck, which are very different. They all move bins, but it's nothing alike. So retrofitted everything, figured out how to do that, run kind of some serious fabrication, paint, modification, all the strange tasks involved with that. And that's a low and slow also model. It's not high margin. It's not real sexy, but it's a good long-term business for us. And it's complementary to snow. Snow doesn't rely on Trash Panda or bin services. Trash Panda doesn't rely on the snow, but they piggyback to help each other. There's an overlap. They're all their own entities, but we could sell them if we need. So once we got that kind of established, then I was talking with Jason, which was short iron fabrication at the time with the back blades. And he was having some challenges running a business. He's a genius fabricator. He could build anything. He could powder coat anything. You could, like, he's very tough to compete with, but everything else was bogging him down. So it's like, hey, what if I join you? You don't need me. I don't need this business. We're doing fine, but we can make this into something greater. We can help so many more guys if we can make this process better. And also, you can be less stressed every day. You can have more consistent income. Like, seems to solve everybody's problem. So why don't we go down that path and see what's there? And so that's kind of where that's the rough and dirty of how we got here today.
Right on. That's awesome, Rob. And I'd love to talk more, like I mentioned at first, more the business side of things and managing and operating all of these. Like what does your day to day look like, I guess, and how do you choose where to put your time? What was it building out the right teams or like what was that first step when you have six different things going on?
Yeah. So you want businesses and markets that are growing. So that's like the first thing is find a business that's got room to grow that you appreciate. If you hate it, but you make more money, like I've done things where I loved it and I made no money almost. And so I was like, well, this is not sustainable. And then I did things where I made a lot more money and I was always frustrated with rush hour traffic. My coffee was always cold. I was always worked up. I was like, okay, well, I don't like money that much that I'm going to be angry every day about all the things. I was actually like a day trader for an international firm for a bit. And, like I've tried many things, but for me, finding the sweet spot in all of this is like the target that I'm after. So for me, it's like find something that has good opportunity and then kind of sketch it out what that could look like. I'm not a technician, so I don't know if you've read the E-Myth book, or for anybody that has the E-Myth that talks about the technician, the manager, and the entrepreneur. Most small businesses are run by technicians, from my experience. I'm the best woodworker. I'm gonna do lots of woodwork and then hire help to support me. Is kind of the way I've seen it go most of the time. Then they have like a bit of entrepreneur, and then it's manager. I'm like, I'm not that at all. I'm not the technician. I'm not the specialist. I'm good enough to get it done, but like the vision around the thing is what I'm good at. Bringing in good people to help get it done, build a good environment to work in, build future opportunities. That's kind of what I focus on. So I'm actually
So the visionary.
Yeah, so entrepreneur, manager, technician last. I'm the worst at this, and I care the least about this personally. But I have to be good enough to make it work. So that's the hard part is when we launch things, often I'm the mule to get things going. And it's a hard until I can get somebody there, get management in place, and then we're kind of off to the races.
Right, right. So what do you say to those who advise on sticking to one thing, getting really good at it, finding your niche, dial in, but stick to that thing? What do you say to those giving out that advice and those listening to that advice, right?
Yeah, that's great. Like there's a million ways to make $1,000,000. So I mean you could probably be really good at taking nice pictures of butterflies and get rich on that somewhere. Like it's just we're in a different world now. So if you are that technician, then like you're probably just not geared towards management or entrepreneur, and that's great. It doesn't mean you don't possess those abilities. You can't learn them. But for me, trying to be the technician, it was always grating on me, and I was always frustrated. So, like, find your pocket and be as good at it as you can. For me, that's the entrepreneurial space, having this wild idea and then bringing it together. It's really unscientific, but you can kind of feel how things are shaping up. You can feel how people are responding to things, where the market is responding, and then making adjustments. But for me, it's a pretty unprecise science. So go for it, lean in no matter what. A lot of guys are high school athletes that start businesses. You learn so much from pushing through, from being great at soccer, basketball, whatever, but you're probably not a professional athlete. But if you lean into business that way in your craft and get as good as you can, no matter what, you're going to learn and grow, and then it should provide new opportunities. So just like lean into whatever you're good at, give it your honest best, and it'd be strange if good things don't come from it eventually.
So, and I'd like to take a little bit of a step back, Rob, like what you just alluded to of making sure that there's a growing market. Like that's probably one thing you look at. What are a few other boxes that the opportunity needs to check for you to step into it?
Yeah, so like, is it something I'm a pretty like not standard guy. I'm learning that more as I go. I don't look at things the way the rest of the world does. So for me, it's like that thing I said, like shorter time horizon, high risk, higher reward, low and slow, growing market. And then like, do I want to be a part of it? Because there's a lot of projects which I've turned down, which could make plenty of money and be healthy businesses. I don't like them. I don't want to do it. It's not worth the money because money doesn't solve as much as we might want to believe or pretend like it does. Not that it doesn't make things easier, not that it doesn't solve everything, but if I'm in for something just to make the money, I can't stay with it. When those days are hard and dark and you feel like, you can't go on, why would you go on if you don't like the thing you're doing? Also, you don't like the people you're working with, there's not enough incentive. If you spend most of your day at work, which generally you do, it should be like something you look forward to. It's hard. There's lots of challenges and stuff you don't love. But like I love the teams I work with. I love the projects we're on. So it's like it's not that hard to go to work, even though it feels impossible many days. I'm like, I don't think I could go into anywhere with a better team. If we can't solve it, I don't know who can. So let's just get after it and see what's on the backside of these challenges.
And that's a great point and commonly comes up, Rob, like through talking to business owners, entrepreneurs on this podcast of like, there has to be something deeper than just the money talking, whether it's the why or the purpose or you enjoying what you're doing every day. And you guys go through some pretty crazy shit. There's no business if people aren't in it, it's hard to put it into words, but especially, the scale you guys are at for people to understand listening, it's pretty wild. What is it for you that is like that North Star? Like, sure, you enjoy it, but there's something a little bit deeper.
Yeah. So I grew up. I mean, which seems like a lot of business guys did, pretty poor. We grew up in like a government subsidy apartments, and I saw a lot of hard things around me. The thing that motivates me, I had to help a lot of people. My mom would overcommit to helping all the people in the apartments, and then she couldn't do it. She would send me down to random apartments. There was a lady, totally immobilized. She could basically move her eyes and her mouth. And I would, at like 7 years old, go into her house, go into her cabinets, make her dinner, and feed her. Her house did not smell nice. It was not a good experience. But like she would have died if nobody was there to feed her and keep going. She wasn't going to just like call somebody easily. And then I had an awareness of missions trips and stuff. I was involved in the church around the world and saw like, oh, look, I have problems. And I'm like the poorest at my private Christian school. It wasn't a fancy Christian school, but I was the poorest there, but it was like, my problems aren't real problems. Like these people have real problems. And so if I can figure out how to do well in business and I can work hard here in this first world economy, I want to help other people have a better shot at life. And so that's like a pretty grand motivator. But when I put my boots on, it's always been like me looking, when I put them on today, I'm looking 5 years ahead. Like if I get this right, if I figure this out, my family will be fine. We'll be fed. But we get to do a lot of good in the world and the community and support. Somebody has to pay for the single mom's car who's in trouble, who has to take her kids to school. Somebody has to be able to, somebody has to be able to help with third world sanitary stuff. And so like that's really motivating and exciting that I can be a part of a bigger picture on that scale. And that's like, it's not about me at that point. It's way bigger than me. And I'm just participating in a greater story. So the more I figure this out, the more good dudes I connect with, the more leverage we have to make our communities and our world better. And that's like an exciting problem. That's a hard problem to solve and be a part of. So that's interesting to me.
That's awesome. Wow. So what do you have to say to the younger guys or guys just starting out who are struggling finding that, like the younger gents who are that's a little bit of a gray area. They feel they're kind of wandering, floating around. Because you're right. Like, and I see some people, they're like, oh, if I get that next truck, or if once my parents are taken care of, and then it just keeps going, and it'll never end if there's not a deeper. What do you have to say to help those guys?
Yeah, yeah. Like, first of all, I'm pretty eclectic. I'm not standard business as usual, and things are working out well. Like, I don't try to fit in. I don't try and stand out. But like, be yourself. Not in you're the king and you can make whatever rules you want. But like, what is it for you? Don't try and fit in. Don't have the same goals. Figure out what really matters. Because if I was going through this last like decade trying to fit in, I would have none of this stuff. A lot of the guys around me, early on, they had new trucks, they bought houses, they did all the things. I wanted a high level of control and freedom to do the things I believe in. And had I committed that money and tried to fit in, I couldn't be here buying businesses. We travel as a family lots. I travel for business lots. The things we value, we do. And that, when COVID happened, the government tried to step in on snow cleared a good amount and some local stuff. And I said, like, no, I'm not doing that. It goes against my values to ask all of my guys to do certain things. And like, if you have to cut my business in half, it's going to be scary and hard, but like, no, I'm not doing this. The freedom to be able to say no is one of the most powerful things I've ever experienced. And so had I needed to make these payments on these things that I bought to fit in, I would have said, yes, thank you, sir. I'll do whatever you need. But I didn't have to. I don't have like FU money where I could just go tell everybody to go get stuffed. But it costs you to follow things you believe in. And I, at this point, have the ability to act on those things, which is pretty satisfying on a deeper level.
That's that reminds me of a quote. I'm not sure who said it, but that there's always someone doing worse than you or in worse conditions than you, has it worse than you, but they're still outworking you. They're still doing better than you, right?
Yes.
And you just alluded to that. Of our first world problems are that it means nothing. It's all small shit. It doesn't even matter.
Yes.
So
But like, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So like, if you think you have the problems, and you're gonna suffer forever. This can be a hard life.
perspective, right?
Yes. Your expectation and your perspective change and control everything in your life. If you think you're entitled, I was entitled to the house and the new trucks and the fun toys and the trips, like all the small business guys around me a decade ago, I would just be worked up and frustrated. But I was like, no, I want different things. I'm going to do different things. And now we have different results, and I'm going in a different curve where business is growing. We're acquiring businesses. Things are going up, and the demands of my time are going like this. But all the technicians around me, they're getting newer, cooler stuff, and it's appropriate because they're exceptional at their field. But my demands are going down just about. We're kind of on that bell curve where I could be as evolved as I want, but 95% of snow cleared now is run without me. Like Track Panda, 95, almost 100% probably is run without me. The storage, 99% run without me. Top Gun will get there. We're about to close on a storage deal for storage units in the States. The same thing will happen. It's like I invested in people and systems and long-term thinking. I never, thought much about when I'm 40, what it would be. I'm 38 now. But because I invested in those 10, 15, almost 20 years ago, some of the things we started, now it's like, oh, I travel with my family like a month or two every year. We pack up the trailer and go wherever we want to go for months. Like, it's not a common thing, and the businesses don't suffer as a result. So, like, we've built different things, and I'm very grateful for the things that we have built and for the incredible team members, community members that have stepped in to be part of the team, to see them grow and flourish and take responsibility. It's not just about me because we've set them up to succeed. It requires less of me. So now I have those freedoms.
What are a few key things, if a few of the things that would stand out? Sounds like culture is a big one, and making that clear to your team of like, if we all win together. But what else are a few like key metrics or key focuses of yours throughout all these business when you were growing them to have them run without you?
Yeah, I haven't checked out the math on this exactly, but my perspective and understanding of like to grow, for me to do a task, I could do it fast, I could do it well, I have the control. For me to find somebody to hire to be a part of this, to train them, to get them to do it, to know they're going to make mistakes, pay for those mistakes, keep them motivated to do it again, to have the courage that like you are safe to fail here. Sabotage is not acceptable, but failing to try and learn and grow and do better, I'm good with that all day. Unless it's the same problem all the time, that's a problem. But hire, train, let them do it, know they're going to fail. Not the whole way, but they're going to fail. And then walk with them through it again and again on different problems until eventually they've taken your responsibility. And if somebody could do 80 or 70% of what I could do, I couldn't be happier. I can coach them through to the rest. That's no problem. But I think it takes 3 times the time and 3 times the money to build up those systems and people and then managing those things. But once you get that, it's a pretty good situation.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
One thing that really does, like investing up front, and the long run, the right people will pay off, opposed to someone who doesn't see the bigger vision.
And knowing they're gonna fail. It's not like I'm not disappointed. I'm like, oh, I wish you would have got it, but like, no problem. How could you know? I've been doing this forever. It's obvious to me. It couldn't be obvious to you. So you have to go through it and have the weak knees, this new situation, making a scary call or trying this new thing. You're not going to get it right all the time. And so that takes a lot more time and a lot more money to just be like, yeah, we're going to burn this money. We're going to burn this time. When I was starting out, it was like, I can't imagine how somebody could ever burn any time or any money ever. Like, how could you have a marketing budget? How could you have an anything budget other than like survive and pay my bills? But if you can go through that process and you have enough wiggle room and you're committed to it and you really believe that this can make a bigger impact, once you get to the backside, it's pretty cool.
So you're saying like bringing those people in, like the margins will be thin at first, but it takes a while, and once it catches up to itself, it's incredible. Is that correct?
Yes. And now my team, every part of the business they've joined in, they do better than I do, without question. Like when I get in there, I just make a mess. They are better than me, but we've set them up to 70 or 80% originally, and then coach them through the rest. And then it's up to them that, sky's the limit for them. They get to move on from there, and they've all moved past me. I'm not bothered by it. Like a lot of guys would be like, oh, I'm the man, I'm the best. I was like, no, like I'm pretty good, but they're better, and we win as a team. So my role has probably shifted to supporting and coaching people and the business and the vision and the key leaders that it has to like working in the business.
Like compensation, how is that structured? Or is it just they get compensated more than fairly for the task at hand, or is there some sort of profit share percent? Like what's structured for I guess the guys higher up, the managers running the locations?
Yeah, good question. So what was different for the different businesses? So I mean, like Top Gun was pretty fresh, so the standard hourly wages, we pay healthy rates. Because I've done this a few times. I want to get people with higher caliber, higher capacity. We can have just conversation about what's going on and they can solve it. I don't have to teach or coach, hardly. I mean, on the vision, the bigger picture, yes, but I've hired really good people who are really sharp and who are already way ahead of me in those facets of the business. I have no background in manufacturing or doing business in the US. But here we are. We're doing it. It's working. It's growing. But I couldn't have done that by myself. So that's a unique thing where they just have good wages. We're set up there. Snow cleared. I have I'm terrible with titles. Managing director. She runs all the companies basically. So because she will also stay up 24 hours a day, she will also do impossible, ridiculous tasks all the time. And she's been with me for like a half a dozen years. Then I'll get into profit share. I'll get into some of those things. There's many different ways to do that. Basically, an incentive, if you stay on, it's kind of like you have shares, but I don't do partners. So it's like a phantom share. It's like a representation of, as long as you're here, you like own this percentage of whatever. And then there's a bonus structure. So if we grow from $1 million to $1.5 million, you get that upside. But now your next floor is $1.5 million, and $1.5 million to whatever. You get incentives based on there, but the company has to stay. If it goes below $1.5 million, once you set that standard, there's no more bonus there. But you have your like phantom shares that you still get a residual every year.
Is that annually or just whenever you hit it?
Yeah. Well, it's annual, so it's based on the annual review of finances. But I mean, like the storage business is pretty automated. There's not much there to incentivize at this point. Trash Panda, not that either. It's a lower margin, kind of higher volume, slow, steady, boring business. But there will be things like that in place in time where the business just isn't there yet. It's easy to overcommit money and get it in trouble. So, when people are here just for the money, we don't work out very well. Because you will trade me in for $5 at some point, and I can't invest in you if it's just that much about the money. I don't like that. Like, we're spending our lives together. Like, realistically, we're spending our lives together. I don't want to work with people who only want to be next to me to try and maximize their dollars. If they want to get better and learn and grow, I'm with you. But if I'm like some dollar sign to you, like, it's just where our values are so different, it's not going to go.
Interesting. So, Rob, hard knocks over the years, what are a few that stand out to you? I'm sure this is very hard for you to answer, but and more specifically, a few that you wish you knew earlier on that would help you, turn left instead of turn right,
Yeah, it's a big loaded question. I've lost more than anybody I know, like personally, not internet people, like real people. I've lost more than anybody I know. I've been beaten up, tricked, stolen from every way imaginable. But I think probably like I would have just put on audiobooks more when I'm working. A lot of tasks you do, especially in business early on, you're breaking out a yard, running a skid steer, driving a truck. Put on top books and don't try and catch everything. Don't worry about it. Treat it like a conversation. So you put on the E-Myth, say the book I referred to earlier. Great. Just leave it on. Lower your standard on what you're trying to retain. Because when you're trying to learn, it changes how I process the world anyways. When I'm just listening to a guy explain how my business can get better and I hear a nugget, I just want one or two nuggets from a book, and that's all I'm after. If I can place those into my business today, how much better will it be for the $20 book I got? Like hundreds of times better. I'm not trying to retain everything. I'm not trying to convince everybody to read the book or tell them all the things I know about the book or I don't know who wrote most of the books. I go through the things that are recommended, take a couple nuggets, and I apply them today and stay committed. And that's like, now that's really what's helped shape, form, build our businesses is these conversations I've just listened to while I'm doing mundane tasks. Some sticks out. Boom. Yes, that's our problem. Okay, how do we apply this to our business? Let's get it in place. And then that's it. Like, that's the biggest victory. But it's actually because I lowered my standards. I wasn't trying to listen to everything. I wasn't trying to regurgitate all the facts and things I heard in the book and stats and how many whatever. It's like I don't learn for any of those purposes. It's just for me to get better and help the people and businesses around me get better. So it's a different style of learning and looking at business growth, development, but that the ROI is just probably unmatched. Like the greatest minds in history wrote stuff. You have access to that, unlimited access. And you can listen to the same book over and over and over until you get all the things out of it. There's nothing stopping you like that. It's pretty wild. There's nothing you can't learn easily now from the best ever. It's just your choice.
Interesting. Because I'm sure you hear it as much as I do, the excuse of, oh, I don't have time to pick up a book at the end of the day or this and that. It's like you're already doing something. Optimize your time and throw your headphones in, right?
Well, if you worked a 10-hour day and you had a book on all day, I think that's 20 hours of production.
Interesting.
Like you double dipped on everything. So while you're traveling, driving, whatever, you're also learning. And I learn better when I'm doing things. So to double dip Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I go to church and take most Sunday off. Like who's going to compete with that? It's hard to beat. It's like that Kobe. Like if I'm doing 2 or 3 a days and you're doing the regular 1 a day practice with the rest of the team, I just have more reps than you. I just know more stuff. It's not because I'm better. We just chose different paths. And this one's serving me pretty well. Like you have that option, but it's not normal. It's uncomfortable. It's different. Requires like more intention. Yeah. Like all the stuff I do is not sexy. It just works. And it works for me in particular. I kind of found the pocket it works for me in.
Interesting. So you feel the knowledge getting from number one, optimizing, that's a massive point, your time, but the knowledge that you would have got from those books would have helped you in manipulate some situations. Is that correct? And
yes,
make different decisions.
Yeah, and don't try to apply a whole book to your business. You're gonna ruin yourself. Like
just whatever resonates.
Change is very difficult. Nobody I know really likes change or looks for change. It's just homeostasis. Like how can I stay warm and comfortable and safe? So that's the thing. If you try and change everything and you keep doing that, you will wear yourself out. You will wear your team out. You will wear your clients out. You will wear everyone out. If you're just implementing and trying everything all the time, this is too much. But like I'm committed to 1% growth in everything I touch every day. How can I make it just a little bit better? Because when you look back in a week, a month, a year, 10 years, it's nothing alike. But 1% a day, no problem. But 1%, 5-6 days a week over years, that's very difficult. But it's just how we do it now. It's our posture in business. And so we're always looking to do more with less and find good leverage. And it's working out just fine.
Awesome. Listen, before we wrap this up, I really want to touch on, I get advice, don't reinvent the wheel. Just all the ideas are out there. Just put together, what you think the best combination of things would be. You guys with, especially SnowCleared, it looks like, but the inventing and the ideas and efficiency of what I see online is at another level, and it works. But where do you draw the line? I'm sure it's a transparent line for you guys, but where do you draw the line between all this time and money invested, and who knows if it'll even work, and who knows if, like what do you have to say for I guess advice to business owners on that topic?
Yeah, well, kind of like I mentioned earlier, like high school sports, if you're good at a thing, like almost nobody's a good professional athlete, but it's the way you do things. It's the way you operate and learn it. So 2016, 2017, we got obliterated by the biggest snow we've ever had. It was so painful. And I worked 22 hours a day almost for a month straight. Don't do it. It's doable. It's not good for you. But the demands were so high, it was so impossible. And I didn't want to let everybody down. I had committed contracts, lawsuit, risk, all of the things, leading guys doing impossible things. I'm not going to go to sleep if they're up working like that for that long. Forgive me, I lost the question there, but
Um, Innovation,
yes.
reinventing the wheel.
So the way I went through, so that happened. I'm tired right now too. It's been a crazy 6 months of not 22 hours, but a lot of work. So we realized we need to do more with less. That's like part of our philosophy. Is how we do more with less. What equipment can we have? What people can we have? What systems can we have? How can we do this? So that's when we came across the pull plows with short iron. It was in Michigan, which is about as far east to west as you can get from where we are in Vancouver, BC. I looked into it. Seemed like a gimmick. It didn't really make sense. You plow from the front. You don't plow from the back. But like people are doing it. So there's something to it. So we found this leverage point that nobody here was doing. And now we can do 16 feet passes instead of 8 feet passes. The math is just there. That's it. It's double. So we ordered our first one. We tried it out. And I was like, okay, we got leverage. What else can we do this with? So then we started modifying little things around that. And those small iterations have led to what we've got today, because we were committed to like, how can we make this a little 1% better? What if we just change the snowblower like this? What if we just adjust this in the truck? What if we add air horns to our trucks? Because in snow and ice, it's a bit scary, and give people good warnings. Also, now you have air compressors to fill up tires on whatever equipment. Like, it's just 1% better, 1% better. And then talking with Jason about his product. Hey, what if we change from short arm? What if we change the controller to this pattern? What if we added lights here? And then we were in those conversations. Again, I don't know how to weld. I don't do any of that stuff, but I have the idea. I have a mechanic who's okay to fail with me, try stuff, learn, look silly, scrap it, do it again. And then we started involving Jason in these conversations. And then we started applying things to his business, to the short iron backblade. And then I was like, hey, one day, like, no pressure, Jason. I'm trying to build 10 businesses by the time I'm 40. You've told me there's some bad bounces. I can help with those systems to make this boring, to make this like this a standard business, fill the shelves, get you steady pay. Are you interested in that? Because we've worked together lots and talked through all these ideas of little better, little better. And he's like, yeah, like, I hate staff. I hate paperwork. I hate email. I don't want to. I was like, cool, no problem. We can help. Let's just get you. Let's calm things down for you. Let's make it more standard. You've done really crazy hard things for so long. Let's bring it down. And he's like, please solve it. Oh, I'm just done with it. I just want to work. I just want to build these plows the best I can. I was like, okay, good. Because I'm not going to build them. So you can build the plows. I'll build everything around you, and we'll be fine. But I wouldn't have been in that conversation if we didn't start in our hardest year. Instead of celebrating and just buying champagne, tell everybody why we're the king and how much money we made, I was looking for innovation. I spent tons of money on systems and random equipment to improve it. And I just kept quiet about it. And then we bought that plow, we iterated, and now I own my favorite snow plow company. Now I own that company. Like, it's a pretty cool transition to see how it's gone.
Awesome. Listen, Rob, out of respect for your time, I know you have to run. We'll wrap this up. Sure. Where can people find you? Online, Instagram? If people are curious to check out what you have going on, where do you want to send them?
Don't email me. I quit email a long time ago. But yeah, on my Instagram, Top Gun Backblades, Snow Cleared. The other ones I'm not a part of, but that's probably the best place. Send me a DM. I'm in there pretty frequently. Just reach out. You don't know me. We haven't talked. That's okay. That's what the internet's weird. We're all kind of friends, but most people haven't shaken hands. So if somebody's in there, just say hi, ask questions. We are all in this small business racket together. So let's keep doing it together.
Awesome. Thanks again.